Sometimes when you open the door on an old pickup truck, and we're talking 70s models, maybe a little earlier than that, but we're working on a 70 model truck, so we're going to go ahead and talk about that. When you work the door on them, most of the time they don't work properly. And that's what this video is about, is how to fix your old truck doors on the 70s trucks, including a Ford, Dodge, Chevrolet. Let's jump into it. Let's see what's going on and what we need to do to fix our old crappy doors that don't open right.
Welcome to D.I.Y. Automotive School with my friend Pete and Minnie, the body shop girl. It's everything you need to know about cars and more.
So if you look right here, this is a 1974 Chevy truck. This body style goes all the way up to the early 80s. And what we got here is when you open this door, I want you to pay attention, you can see how it dropped. See how it's dropped down, but when I latch it, it lifts the door back up. So I'm going to open it again, and now it dropped back down. And the reason for that is, watch real close when I take this door. You can see how the door actually is moving up and down. That means that the hinge pins and the bushings are shot. And if we dig deep down into the problem, what we're talking about is, if you look at where my finger is right here, you can see that's the top of the hinge pin right there. We're going to follow that down, and inside this hinge mechanism, there are some bushings in there that the hinge pin goes in. Now these are brass bushings and they're worn out. Also, we got the hinge pin right here. You can clearly see that goes down into the hinge itself. Bushings are worn out, but we even got more problems than that on these doors, and it's problems that you probably have as well. I've already went ahead and removed the driver's side door. Now, of course, this is a mechanical door, meaning that there's no electricals in it. We don't have any power locks. We don't have any power windows. If there was power windows and power locks, that would have to be disconnected before the door would be removed. But you see where I have removed the door off of the hinges, and you can see clearly on this one here that this hinge is actually out of the hole itself. I don't know how this door was even opening at all, but this hinge is just total trash. If we come down here, you can see this one here seems like it's pretty tight, but you can also see when I move it around by hand, you can see this bushing right here is worn out. So what we need to do is replace the hinge pins and the bushings on both doors, upper and lower. But before we do that, we got even seriouser problems as we dig deeper in the situation. And the situation we're talking about is located right here. I want everybody to take a close look at what's going on here. We got a cracked out body where the hinge itself bolts to the body, and that's because of the bad hinge pins. Look at this crack right here. So what that's telling us is what we got to do is we have to weld all that up and then grind it all down. We need to make sure that those welds are penetrated perfect. We need to grind that down where it's a flush mount situation so we can have a nice solid mounted door once again. So before we do anything, we want to take a welding blanket and we want to cover our interior and our glass. We don't want to get any sparks on our glass. And then we want to cover our interior panel so we don't start any fires. Just like that. Now, the owner of this particular vehicle, he's going to completely restore the whole car, but we still want to do our part in protecting everything that we can. So what we want to do to fix this, we're just going to go ahead and spot weld it very slowly, making sure we get good penetration all the way around all the cracks. Alright, so what we've done here is we located all our hairline cracks and of course our major cracks. And I see right here, I'm going to have to go ahead and weld just a little bit more. One more thing, this is a very good tool to use when you're doing this type of work. You can see very well with it and it'll tell you exactly if you're getting a good weld or not. And then depending on how far you want to take it as far as quality goes, you can take it into the extreme of making it look brand new and doing all the body work to it, this, that, and the other. The owner of this vehicle requested that he's not really concerned about the way that it looks, that he's more concerned about the way that it performs. So what we'll do now is we're going to go ahead and put some 2-inch tape across here, and I will go ahead and spot prime that with some spray can primer, and then he can take it from there later on when him and his son completely restore the car in 2 to 3 years from now, because he's actually building this truck for his 13-year-old son, and in 3 years he'll be 16 and ready to drive it. So I think it's a father-son project. He just doesn't have a welder to handle the situation. Now that we got the door welded up, everything's done on that end, we're going to let that primer dry. We're going to go ahead and replace our hinge pins. Now what I got here, you can buy these at your local automotive parts store. They're around $7, $8 a pin. And if Minnie can get a good look at that, it comes with 3. I thought it had 4 in there. Okay, we're missing a fucking hinge pin in this kit. Look what they did to us. Do you see what I'm looking at? Do you see that? This is a 38-400. This is an unopened package, and there's a bushing missing in it for $8.
Wonderful. So now I gotta go
now you gotta go back to the parts store and say, hey, where's my fucking bushing?
Yes, P, you don't need to fucking scream at me.
Who's screaming? I ain't screaming. Okay, so what we got here is, take 2 on this situation, is we actually got a hinge pin. Now these cost approximately $8 a piece at your local automotive parts store. This happens to be a Dorman 38400 part number. So what we want to do is we want to get this old hinge pin out. Now, if we remember right, we looked at this hinge pin and we saw where it was already coming out right here. So what I'm going to do is I got my vice grips on. I'm going to take my hammer, okay, and we can see that this one's going to come out with ease. Let's see if we can get it. There it is right there. And that's the old hinge pin that we're going to be removing. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take this part of the hinge off of the vehicle, just like this. All right, you see how I did that, Minnie, the body shop girl? Okay, and then we're going to go in and inspect this. Now, there was something fishy about this. The roller wasn't hitting or the door wasn't staying open. So when we put this back on here, and if this doesn't work properly when we put it on there, he's going to have to buy a new hinge for his door. But we're going to go ahead and replace those hinge bushings and see what happens. The way that we're going to get those hinge bushings out is we're going to use a hammer and a chisel. So I got a ball peen hammer, and I'm going to hit that, and you can see it's already coming out. Let me go ahead and see if I can get it out of there. And I'm going to take this chisel, I'm going to lightly hit it, just like this. Okay, here it comes. More than likely, somebody already replaced these bushings. I'll bet you $100, and they didn't put the pins back in properly, all right, because that's usually what happens. And then if you look right here, there's our oversized bushing. All right, do you see that? So I'm just speculating that these have been replaced before. So we had one that goes up in here, and then of course the other one goes in from the top. If Minnie could get a good look at this right here, I'm pointing at it. You can see where the hinge, the bushing has completely cracked out, and there's basically nothing left of it. So let's go ahead and see if we can pop it out from the bottom up. Get a good bite on that lip of that thing. There it goes. Okay. And you can see now the bushings are gone. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get in our little hinge kit right here. And the reason it comes with two hinge pins, two different sizes, is one's actually an oversized and the other one's a factory hinge pin. And if you get lucky and you're just replacing your hinge pins because you want to, sometimes all you need is the factory hinge pins, and you don't need the oversized ones because the oversized ones are actually made for when the holes have been wobbled out from not having a bushing in them for many, many years. But on this particular application, I'm thinking this would be our factory bushing. I'm thinking that that's going to be, yeah, see how it's too small? Because what you want that bushing to do is when you put it in there, all right, see how that is right there now. When I put some pressure on it, okay, that's not going down, so we're going to have to work on that. But what happens is the bushings press in there, okay? Let's see if we can get this one in, because you want them to fit tight like that. You don't want them to fit loose. And usually, all right, we're going to take that one out. We don't want to lose it. But usually, just a little bit of tapping will get them in there just like they're supposed to be. This one here is acting very, very strange and odd. All right, so what's happening here is it feels like the hole is egg-shaped. That means that it's smaller at the bottom than it is at the top. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take a round file and we're cleaning the bottom of that edge is what we're doing. The next thing we're going to do is I am going to take a C-clamp, just like you see in my hand right here. I'm going to put my bushing inside there. We're going to take the C-clamp, and then we are going to press that in there using the C-clamp device. Okay, there we go. All right. Okay, so our bushing is now in. Let me go ahead and smack it one more time. All right, so we got our bottom bushing in, our top bushing is in. Now what we need to do, we're going to go ahead and take our hinge, Do you remember which way that was, Minnie? Was it like this?
No.
Was it like this?
No. Well, this obviously goes on the body, Pete.
All right, so it had to have been like that.
Yeah.
No, it had to have been like that. Because our rollers are right there. We're going to slide that in to the hinge, just like you see me doing. I'm going to take my hammer and lightly tap it in there. Once you put your new bushings in, it is going to fit tight. Once we get that lined up, we're going to go ahead and take our brand new hinge pin, just like you see right here. We're going to go ahead and line our hole up at the top. We're going to get our hinge pin into the top, and then we're going to go ahead and get it lined up with the bottom. Now, this is the trick. Once you got it in there just like that, you can see now it fits tight. It's hitting the spring where it's supposed to. What we're going to do is we're going to give it a good smacking. And what that smacking is going to do is, if we look at this hinge pin right there, it's got a knurl on the edge of it. And that's going to kick that knurl down in there to hold the pin in. Here we go. Now, did you see how I did that, Minnie, the body shop girl?
I saw it. Got
All right,
it.
so now you can see the hinge is going to work like it's supposed to. We'll go ahead and open that thing up using our wrench, if we can. There it is. Okay. Now the door stops working. The hinge pin's to be replaced. We're going to go ahead and repeat our process on the bottom hinge. Actually, the bottom hinge, yeah, it's loose. Look at it. Let's get it out of there. Let's see what happens. Okay, if Minnie can watch out, here we go. And now, this hinge is solid as well. Okay, let me get the door hung. I'm going to show you the last procedure of this, and when we come back, we're going to have this job done. Okay, now that we got the door hung back on the hinge, you can see it works really good. It's nice and tight, hinges are good. We're going to go ahead and close it. And you can see that the door actually works very well, but it's not giving it a nice tight snug. That means that this latch right here, if a minute can come over here, the catch, if you look at this catch right here, that needs adjustment. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our torque socket out just like this, and then we're going to fine adjust our latch so it will catch, because the door is actually set to the, okay, so you got to get it where it moves around, and then once we pull it in, we can go ahead and adjust it to where the door will catch properly. Anytime you replace the hinge pins on your vehicle, you pretty much have to adjust your latch or catch. Latch catch. Now, another thing you got to understand, we're not restoring this car. All right, so we can only get it as good as the parts will let us. Stand back there. So let's go ahead and try it now. And you can see that's pretty much the best it's going to get with this situation. It works a lot better. Look at that, Minnie. Okay, there's our first catch right there. So we got the first latch and then the safety. Okay. I mean, what else do you want? Okay, this is Pete, my friend Pete, your friend Pete. I got another door over there to do in the middle of the winter. Minnie's got to have the heater on that she's not using.
Well, that's because you're
You're
making,
wasting gas. We're not using the heater, you got it running. And I got a door to fix. So, that's how you fix these old doors. And that's the situation when it comes to repairing a cracked door hinge area situation and also replacing the door hinge pins, bushings, all at the same time. Take it easy, my friend Pete, your friend Pete. Trying to help people out, get them back on the road, and get the 13-year-old kid involved in something besides drugs, alcohol, and loose women. See you later. And on the other hand, loose women ain't a bad idea for a 13-year-old. Is it? Minnie?
I got no comment.
We gotta go. Take it easy. Take it easy.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching D.I.Y. Automotive School. Classes don't stop till you know everything.